Have you ever stopped for a moment and wondered why the same pain seems to appear again and again within your family? Why does one generation struggle with fear, and the next carries the same burden without even realizing it? Why do some families repeatedly experience broken relationships, constant conflict, emotional distance, anxiety, or feelings of never being good enough, even though everyone sincerely wishes for a happier life? Perhaps you have asked yourself, why does this keep happening to us? Or, why do I react in ways I promised I never would? These are not easy questions, but they are deeply important ones. According to the spiritual wisdom inspired by Paramahansa Yogananda, our lives are not random, and neither are the challenges we face. Every soul comes into this world with opportunities to learn, to grow, and to transform old patterns into greater awareness. Sometimes the struggles we experience are not meant to make us suffer forever. Instead, they gently invite us to awaken, to heal, and to bring light where there has been darkness for generations. Imagine if you could become the person who ends a cycle of fear that has existed in your family for decades. Imagine replacing anger with compassion, replacing resentment with understanding, and replacing inherited pain with lasting peace. Through the sacred practice of Kriya Yoga, combined with the healing power of sincere forgiveness, many spiritual seekers believe it is possible to quiet the restless mind, cleanse old impressions within the heart, and begin creating a completely new path for the future. In today's journey, we will explore how ancient spiritual wisdom can help you heal not only yourself, but also the invisible patterns that may have silently influenced your family for generations. Take a slow, gentle breath, relax your heart, and allow yourself to be fully present, because this message may speak to your soul in ways you never expected. Imagine a young child growing up in a home where arguments happen almost every day. The child watches the tension, hears the harsh words, and quietly promises, "When I grow up, I will never live like this." Yet years later, without intending to, that same child may find themselves speaking the same words, reacting with the same anger, or carrying the same fears they once hoped to escape. This is one of life's deepest mysteries. Many of us believe we are making completely independent choices, but often we are influenced by invisible emotional patterns that have been passed down through generations. Some families seem to carry worry wherever they go. Others struggle with silence, mistrust, criticism, guilt, or emotional distance. These patterns are rarely spoken about, yet they quietly shape the way people think, feel, and respond to life. Over time, these repeated habits become so familiar that they begin to feel normal, even when they cause suffering. The hidden problem is that many people spend years trying to change their circumstances while never looking within to discover the deeper patterns guiding their reactions. They change jobs, relationships, or locations, hoping life will finally feel different, only to find the same emotional struggles appearing again in new forms. Spiritual wisdom reminds us that the greatest transformation begins not by changing the world around us, but by becoming aware of what lives within us. Awareness is the first light that enters a dark room. The moment you begin to observe your thoughts, emotions, and reactions with honesty instead of judgment, healing quietly begins. You may realize that the pain you carry is not your true identity. It is simply a pattern waiting to be understood, transformed, and released. And perhaps, without even knowing it, your soul has chosen this very moment to become the one who gently ends a cycle that has continued for generations and begins a new legacy of peace, wisdom, and unconditional love. So why do these patterns continue, even when we sincerely want our lives to be different? According to the spiritual wisdom inspired by Paramahansa Yogananda, every thought, emotion, and action leaves a subtle impression upon the mind. These impressions, repeated over time, become habits. Habits slowly shape our character, and our character influences the direction of our lives. In yoga philosophy, these deep impressions are known as sanskars, mental and emotional grooves formed through repeated experiences. Some are created in this lifetime through our daily choices, while others may feel so deeply rooted that they seem to have existed long before we became aware of them. Modern psychology offers a similar understanding. From the moment we are born, we naturally learn by observing the people around us. A child does not only hear words, the child absorbs emotions, attitudes, fears, and ways of responding to life's challenges. If love is expressed with kindness, the child learns trust. If life is filled with anger, anxiety, or emotional distance, those reactions can quietly become part of the child's own way of facing the world. Over many years, these patterns become automatic, and most people never stop to question where they came from. Spiritually, this is not a reason for guilt or blame. It is simply an invitation to awaken. The beautiful truth is that what has been learned can also be transformed. Just as a river slowly changes its course over time, the mind can create new pathways through conscious living, meditation, and loving awareness. Every peaceful thought weakens an old habit. Every act of compassion softens the heart. Every sincere moment of self-awareness begins to dissolve unconscious patterns that may have been carried for generations. This is why inner work is so powerful. When you heal your own consciousness, you are not only changing your future, you are becoming a source of light that gently influences everyone whose life you touch. At this point, you may be wondering, if these patterns have existed for so long, are they simply my destiny? This is where the spiritual understanding of karma offers a message of hope rather than fear. Many people hear the word karma and immediately think of punishment, as though life is keeping a record of every mistake and waiting to repay it with suffering. But according to the wisdom inspired by Paramahansa Yogananda, karma is not a system of punishment. It is a divine law of learning, growth, and spiritual evolution. Every experience we face carries a lesson, and life gently presents that lesson again and again until it is understood with wisdom and love. In the same way that a teacher patiently helps a student master an important subject, the universe offers repeated opportunities for the soul to awaken. This means that being born into a family with emotional struggles does not mean you are cursed or destined to suffer forever. It may simply mean that your soul has been given a sacred opportunity to transform what previous generations could not. Think of a gardener who notices that a tree is not healthy. Instead of blaming the leaves, the gardener carefully nourishes the roots, knowing that true healing begins beneath the surface. Our thoughts, beliefs, and emotional reactions are like the roots of our lives. When they are purified through meditation, self-awareness, and sincere spiritual practice, the outer branches of our life begin to change naturally. Kriya Yoga teaches that every conscious breath helps calm the restless mind and awaken the soul's deeper awareness. With each peaceful meditation, fear loses some of its power, anger begins to soften, and compassion quietly grows stronger. Destiny is not something fixed in stone. It is shaped by the consciousness we cultivate each day. The more we live with awareness, forgiveness, and devotion to the divine, the more we free ourselves from old karmic patterns and begin creating a future guided not by unconscious habits, but by wisdom, peace, and unconditional love. You may now be asking yourself, how can I know if generational patterns are influencing my own life? The answer often reveals itself not through dramatic events, but through the quiet repetition of everyday experiences. Perhaps you notice that the same kinds of conflicts appear in every relationship, no matter how much you try to avoid them. Maybe you struggle with fears that seem larger than the situations you face, or you constantly feel responsible for everyone else's happiness while forgetting your own inner peace. Some people find themselves repeating the same financial struggles that affected their parents, while others inherit habits of worry, emotional distance, or difficulty expressing love. There are also moments when your reaction seems much stronger than the event itself. A small disagreement leads to overwhelming anger, a simple mistake fills you with deep shame, or a few words of criticism stay with you for days. These experiences are not signs that something is wrong with you. Instead, they may be gentle invitations to look beneath the surface and discover what your soul is trying to heal. Imagine a woman who spends years feeling hurt because her mother never openly expressed affection. One day, she learns that her mother also grew up without receiving warmth or encouragement from her own parents. Suddenly, blame begins to soften into understanding. She realizes that what was passed down was not a lack of love, but a lack of knowing how to express it. This awareness does not erase the pain, but it opens the door to compassion, and compassion creates space for healing. Forgiveness does not mean pretending that painful experiences never happened, nor does it mean accepting harmful behavior. It simply means choosing not to let the pain control your future. Every time you respond with awareness instead of automatic reaction, you weaken an old pattern and strengthen a new one. These small moments of conscious choice may seem ordinary, but they are often the very moments in which generations of suffering quietly begin to come to an end. The beautiful truth is that no matter how long a pattern has existed, healing is always possible when it begins with sincere awareness. You do not have to change your entire life overnight. Every lasting transformation starts with one peaceful step taken with patience and faith. Begin by setting aside a few quiet minutes each day to simply observe your thoughts and emotions without judging them. Instead of asking, "Why am I like this?" gently ask yourself, "What is this feeling trying to teach me?" This simple change in perspective opens the heart to understanding rather than self-criticism. As your mind becomes quieter, bring your attention to your breath. In the tradition of Kriya Yoga, the breath is more than air entering the body. It is a bridge between the restless mind and the peaceful soul. With each slow, conscious breath, imagine that you are drawing in divine light, wisdom, and compassion. With every gentle exhale, imagine releasing fear, resentment, guilt, and emotional burdens that no longer serve your highest good. If you have received authentic instruction in Kriya Yoga, allow your daily practice to become a sacred time of inner cleansing and communion with the divine. Alongside meditation, practice the healing power of forgiveness. Close your eyes and lovingly bring to mind your parents, grandparents, and ancestors. Whether your memories are joyful or painful, silently offer them this blessing: "May you be at peace. I release resentment. I choose compassion. May our family be guided by wisdom and love." You are not changing the past, you are changing your relationship with it. Throughout your day, whenever old reactions arise, pause before responding. Even one conscious breath can interrupt years of unconscious habit. Little by little, your words become gentler, your heart becomes lighter, and your relationships begin to reflect the peace growing within you. Healing is rarely sudden or dramatic. More often, it is a quiet sunrise that slowly fills the darkness with light. Trust the process, remain faithful to your practice, and remember that every moment of inner peace you cultivate becomes a priceless gift, not only for yourself, but for every generation that follows. As we come to the deepest part of our journey, let us reflect on a truth that has the power to change the way we see our lives forever. Perhaps you were never born simply to carry the pain, fears, and emotional burdens that have traveled through your family for generations. Perhaps your soul chose this lifetime because it was ready to transform those burdens into wisdom, compassion, and lasting peace. According to the spiritual teachings inspired by Paramahansa Yogananda, every challenge we encounter can become a doorway to a higher state of consciousness when we meet it with awareness, devotion, and love. Your ancestors may have passed down certain patterns because they themselves were struggling with the limitations of their own understanding. They did the best they could with the awareness they had at that time. Rather than judging them, we can honor both their strengths and their struggles. They gave us life, they endured hardships we may never fully know, and because of their journey, we have the opportunity to choose a different path. True spiritual awakening begins when we stop asking, "Why did this happen to me?" and begin asking, "What is this experience inviting me to become?" That simple shift changes everything. It transforms pain into purpose and suffering into spiritual growth. As your heart becomes more peaceful through meditation, forgiveness, and self-awareness, your presence itself becomes a blessing to others. You may never realize how many lives are touched by your calm words, your patient actions, or your ability to respond with love instead of fear. healing does not always happen through dramatic moments. Often, it happens quietly, one compassionate choice at a time. Every time you choose understanding over blame, peace over anger, or faith over fear, you create a new legacy for those who come after you. One day, future generations may never know the battles you fought within yourself, but they will live with greater freedom because you had the courage to heal. That is one of the greatest acts of love a soul can offer. So walk your path with faith, continue your spiritual practice with sincerity, and remember that every peaceful breath, every forgiving thought, and every moment spent remembering the divine is helping to create a brighter future, not only for you, but for your entire family line. In healing yourself, you become a quiet light that continues to shine long after your own journey has ended. As we come to the end of today's journey together, take one slow, peaceful breath and allow yourself a quiet moment to reflect on everything we have explored. Remember, healing does not happen because we become perfect. Healing begins the moment we become aware, choose compassion instead of blame, and take one sincere step toward the divine. No matter what pain your family has experienced, no matter how many generations have carried fear, anger, guilt, or sorrow, the light of an awakened heart is always stronger than the darkness of old patterns. Never underestimate the power of your daily spiritual practice, your sincere prayers, your meditation, your forgiveness, and your loving thoughts. These small acts may seem invisible today, but over time they create profound changes within you and quietly influence the lives of those around you. If this message touched your heart, take a moment to ask yourself this simple but powerful question: what generational pattern am I ready to release with love, and what new legacy do I want to create for those who come after me? I would truly love to hear your thoughts. Please share your reflections in the comments below. Tell us what lesson resonated with you the most, or if you have experienced healing through meditation, forgiveness, or spiritual practice, your story may inspire and comfort someone else who is walking a similar path. If you found peace, hope, or guidance in today's message, please consider subscribing to the channel and gently sharing this video with your family, friends, or anyone who may need these words today. Your support allows us to continue creating videos that bring timeless spiritual wisdom into everyday life. And before you leave, let me know in the comments what spiritual topic you would like us to explore in the next video. Whether it is Kriya Yoga, Karma, meditation, relationships, spiritual awakening, healing, or another question that lives in your heart, I would be honored to create a video for you. Until we meet again, may your mind remain calm, your heart remain filled with compassion, and your soul remain forever connected to the divine. Jai Gurudev.